Hello everyone, welcome back again. So far we have discussed and seen the logic of division of labor principle and Taylorism. We have given an example from Soviet Russia and Lenin's opinion about Taylorism before and after 1918. Now I will explain Taylorist principles, but first of all, we should underline the fact that Taylor and Classical Management School consider organization as a machine. Remember our key concepts. Um, what we have discussed so far, division of labor principle necessitates specialization, specialization necessitates coordination, coordination necessitates authority and hierarchy, and so on and so forth. These are the key characteristics of an organization which can be seen as the peculiarities of a machine. So, the machine is a metaphor used by Gareth Morgan, to explain the main premises of classical management school. Thus, Taylorism can be seen as the reflection of classical understanding of science upon administrative theory, just like scientific laws of the universe. One best way can be found as a result of scientific method. So universe is well ordered, organizations are well ordered. So we can find scientific laws in the universe, we can find scientific laws in the organizations, which can be called as one best way. What he was trying to do is, or what he was trying to prove is, the implementation of scientific principles will be beneficial and advantageous to an organization in terms of effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. These are the key values of managerialism, you may remember. Effectiveness means, for example, doing the right things. How can you do a right thing? It depends on your objectives. If you meet your objectives, then you're effective. If your objective is to produce a certain amount of a product, and if you can produce this, that means you are 100% effective. Efficiency is a mathematical relationship between inputs and outputs. So it is doing the things the right way. So if you perform your tasks with less inputs, but with more outputs, that means you are efficient. And if you minimize the resources you're using, that means you are economic. So Taylor actually believes that implementation of scientific management principles will increase the effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. So Taylorist method is based on scientific examinations of a complex production process. So it is very similar to the principle of division of labor principle. Remember our definition. We define the principle of division of labor as dividing, or as a division of complex production process into its components. And those components are so simple that anyone can do those tasks. And then we will assign a worker for each task. So just like this, Taylor studies operations or motions of a worker. Of course, his famous stopwatch he has. So he studies the operations, he uses his stopwatch, and he selects the quickest way of doing each element of work, each task of work. And then he eliminates useless, unnecessary movements or false movements. And then he picks up the quickest and best movements. By doing so, he can increase the efficiency of the movements. And he believes that he can eliminate soldiering. Soldiering means underworking or deliberately slowing down other work. Remember, for example, Lenin's words when he says Russian is a bad worker. So this is a repetitive, let's say, repetitive notion of classical management school, because classical management school also believes that workers are trying to soldier, so trying to slow down their job deliberately. So that's why if you analyze and observe a task, a complex production process on the basis of its components, it will eliminate unnecessary movements, so it will reduce soldering problem. By doing so, actually, you would automatically remove the initiative of workmen because you will simplify the work. When you simplify the work, you will reduce the task into a simple operation, so you don't have to think. That's why, remember, for example, Adam Smith was criticizing the division of labor principle from this perspective. He believes that if a man spends his life performing a few simple operations, then he would have no occasion to exert his understanding, and he would become stupid and ignorant. So it is another expression of de-skilling. So our workers are not skilled workers. Our workers are not an artisan, for example. You don't need to have a skill to perform a job. So you don't have to take an initiative. You're just expected to implement what is told you. And it all because of the simplification of work. So Taylor is trying to substitute science with the individual judgment or initiative of workmen. So he tries to remove rule of thumb methods. He believes that scientific examination is necessary, so we need to substitute science instead of rule of thumb. We should substitute scientific management with rule of thumb management. In this case, manager must think. Manager must have the responsibility because you have removed the initiative from a workman. So what is expected by a workman is not to think, but to do. So thinking, responsibility, initiative, all of those key notions belong to the managers, not to the workers. So Taylorism wants us to use scientific principles in every functions of, for example, human resource management or staffing function, like scientific selection of workers. So you should select the best possible person. So you will remove, for example, eliminate to those workers who don't want to work, and who refuse to work. or who cannot do the work. So if you do not have a will, or if you're not eager to do a task, then you're dismissed. If you do not have a skill, I mean, if you're unable in the sense of ability, if you do not have this ability, then goodbye. You are dismissed. So Taylorism is very rigid on that, on the basis of scientific examination of those processes. Science is very important, not only in the selection, but also training and development of workers. That's why what Taylor wants to do is to bring science and workmen together. So, development of science with rigid rules. So, you examine the process, you examine the motions. Why you examine this? In order to have a standard, in order to standardize all movements, all implementation and working conditions must be standardized and well ordered, just like a machine, just like a universe. And finally, it will bring us a harmony. So Taylor rejects the conflict between, for example, managers and workers, or he rejects the conflict between proletariat and bourgeoisie. No, there will be a brotherly cooperation. Why? Because everyone will get benefit. Capitalists will get more profit. Organization will get more productivity and efficiency, and workers will get high wages. So, in this sense, what we're trying to do is actually implementation should also be based on performance management. So, performance based. It depends on your performance. If you produce more, then you will get more wages. So, to sum up, we can argue that Taylor favored the development of science and implementation of the scientific methods and principles in the course of management functions, including scientific selection of workers, scientific training and development, and compensation on the basis of performance pay. And according to him, it will create a harmony, brotherly cooperation, friendly cooperation between management and workers. Thank you for listening and see you later.